So, hey everybody, guess we got a big surprise. Our surprise, you just finished experiencing one of my favorite movies, Free of Eden, and with us via Skype, we have the movie star, Sidney Poitier. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for the nice welcome.
Hey, yeah, so I appreciate, I should have looked this up. I forgot your character's name. I don't know if you you remember, but um
Oh, on Free of Eden, you
on
mean?
Free of Eden, yeah.
Nicole,
Nicole.
I
So
believe.
you were
It's been a
fantastic.
while.
Yeah, it has been. But
Yeah.
what is 1998? I guess so.
Yeah.
We're going back a little ways. I'm not going to do any math on that, but you look
Yeah.
great.
Oh, thank you.
And, one of my favorite movies.
It's like I told you, Mr. Clemens. I want to know things. What you think about giving me some lessons?
Like I told you, Nicole, I don't teach anymore.
Yeah, but Mr. Clemens, I'm stuck. And being stuck just ain't no good.
No, being stuck just ain't no good.
Where do you live, Nicole?
Brooklyn, in the Eden Garden housing complex,
Been here long?
all my life. My grandma lived there till she got enough money to move because she and my mom, they don't get along. They don't talk no more.
What about your father?
Nah, just me and my mom's live there now. You know about Eden?
Yeah, I know about Eden.
I saw this movie. It's a shame more people haven't, quite frankly, but I
Yeah.
saw it at the Urban World Film Festival, and it was kind of cool because, like you had two movies that year. You also had Park Day at the
Right.
festival
Yeah.
that year. So I
Yeah.
was like, wow, who's that girl? And then
Oh.
it just turned out that you come from famous lineage and all this other stuff. But this amazing work in both films, which came first, by the way.
Thank you. Park Day came first by a matter of weeks. I did Park Day and then I flew straight from Missouri, where I shot Park Day, to Toronto, where I shot Free of Eden. So within a week, probably.
Wow. Okay. And Park Day
Yeah.
has Hill Harper. It's another underappreciated
It's a really
independent film.
great film. Yeah.
A lot going on. But I mean, so we're going back to Free of Eden. What are your memories of the film?
Well, it was my first big thing that I did. I had done smaller independent films like Park Day and a couple other little small things. And of course, I was working with my dad, which is probably the most prominent memory of it all. But it was really special to me because it was working with him was simultaneously very intimidating and also super duper exciting because it wasn't something I thought I was going to get to do so quickly. I thought, maybe someday down the line we'll do something together, but it happened off the bat, which was actually really good for me because um, it's also really scary going into a big production like that. There were bigger crews than I had ever seen, and it was just a bigger deal, and it was nice to sort of have my dad there to guide me if I needed it, and to have he answered all my questions, and I felt safer than I might have otherwise. So I guess the thing I took away mostly from it was having had that great working experience with him, because I didn't get to do it again after that. So I'll always cherish that for that reason. And I also loved working in Toronto. I'm back in that area now. We're a couple hours north of Toronto. It's for the first time since Free of Eden, actually, which is really funny. And I really enjoyed that city too. It was a great city to work in.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I mean, since you brought up, let people know why you're in Toronto right now and how things are.
Oh, I am. I'm actually in Northern Ontario in a place called North Bay, which is a few hours north of Toronto, and I'm working on a television series called Carter, and it's a Sony series, and it's right now it's a Canadian series. It's an international series. It'll be in Canada and a couple other countries. I'm not sure where it will be in America. Whether it's going to be on a streaming service, I don't know. I think they're still kind of working out those details, but it's just a really fun, kind of lighthearted cop show that airs more on the comedic side. It's almost like a comedy with procedural elements, I guess you would call it.
Okay.
And
Do you
it's
get to be a cop?
I get to be a cop. Yeah, I'm partners with. Well, Jerry O Connell plays Carter, and he is an actor who had played a cop on TV for many years, and he's super famous, and he has sort of like a midlife crisis, and he ends up going home to this small town in Canada where he's from, and he keeps trying to insert himself into the police department because he thinks he knows everything about everything. But he turns out to be right a lot of the time. And the girl that he grew up with, who was his best friend growing up, and also there's a lot of kind of, will they, won't they love tension there. She's the lead detective at the police department. And so he keeps kind of trying to get himself in there on her cases. Two things he's
trying to infiltrate.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And somehow he manages to become, the mayor kind of gives him a consulting detective position. And so they end up kind of being unofficial partners, and they kind of go on all these little capers together. It's a sweet show.
It sounds like fun. And I guess the first TV was Abby, was that?
My first series was actually a series I did for NBC called First Years. It didn't stay on the air for very long at all. I think they only aired like 3 of the episodes. I think we shot about 15 of them, and they aired 3, sadly.
Wow.
Yeah, TV can be brutal like that.
Monday at 9/8 Central, NBC introduces 5 first-year lawyers. The Protector.
She is only fighting for what she believes is best for her daughter.
The Fighter.
I'm not talking to you. You will when we subpoena you.
The Dreamer.
What is this?
How about that?
They'll discover that sometimes the best years are the first years. Premieres NBC Monday at 9/8 Central.
But that was my first series. And then after that, I think I did Joan of Arcadia, and then I did Abby, I believe,
with Kadeem.
I think. Yeah, with Kadeem Hardison, yeah.
UPN Tuesday. How far will we go to get you to watch our hot new comedy, Abby?
I was naked in that picture.
Oh, yes, you were. You can't keep something like that under wraps.
But I never agreed to hang on Will's wall of booty.
And yes, you'll get to see it too.
Get a load of you.
That was great fun. We had a good time on that show.
Well, I know your time is limited, so we'll have to make a whole SYDNEY TAMIIA Poitier special. But back to Free of Eden. So other memories, like I love this movie. I mean, I cry every single time. I mean, I'm a sucker for that whole, sort of My Fair Lady, Finding Forrester. Anytime somebody's like tossing, Queen of Katwe was my favorite movie last year because of the same reason. So very important. I mean, how did this movie come about? Did you have to audition?
Okay, so this is how the movie came about. It was actually something that my dad had been working on with a partner of his, a producing partner by the name of Cedric. What was his last name? I'm blanking on it right now, but you could look it up on IMDb. I always knew him as Cedric, Cedric Scott. Sorry, okay, that's it, Cedric Scott. And he. This is the story as I know it. He approached me about. Nicole in the movie had 2 friends, 2 sort of sidekick friends. And he asked me would I want to audition for one of the friends. And I was like, yeah, I get, sure, whatever. So I had a very small reel at the time of some of my work, and he gave it to the casting director on the show. And the casting director, unbeknownst to me or to him, took it to the head of Showtime at the time and showed them and said, what do you think about her for the lead? Like, would you? And so they came back to my dad, and they had a conversation with my dad. My dad then came to me and had a conversation with me. And at first I was, very stupidly when I look back on it, a little bit reluctant because I thought, well, this is so nepotistic and this is weird, and I wanted to do stuff on my own. And that's also how I was raised. He wasn't one to generally, I was shocked that he even came to me about the friend part. But my mom was like, don't be an idiot. And I was like, okay. And so I said yes. And I'm sure that there was a lot of interest in the idea of like a father and a daughter playing these roles together. It seems like, looking back on it, it seems like it was more of like a marketing ploy or angle, but that's how it happened. It just sort of.
But it's a good movie. You do a good job in it, and
yeah, thank you.
I mean, and especially, I'm gonna have to assume that you didn't grow anywhere near the hood.
So, I did not grow up in the hood. No.
So how do you prepare for a role like Nicole to make it authentic?
Yeah. The way that I did it at the time, because this was obviously like pre-internet and all of that stuff. So I went to, I don't remember exactly which one it was, but I went down to a high school in one of the rougher areas of Los Angeles. And in the South Central area, and I hung out with some kids. They let me come into the classroom and they let me hang, and I just sort of observed and I talked to them. And you know, my feeling about everything. I mean, an actor is an actor. You know, we play roles. We don't have to have had the experience per se. You know, our skill and our craft is to step into those shoes. And I think in general, all experiences are universal. It's all sort of relative, you know, but the experience of, you know, for Nicole, the experience of longing for something more, the experience of feeling abandoned or feeling unsafe or having trouble trusting, you know, all of these things that she had gone through are things that I knew well, like, as all humans know, you know. So it was really just a matter of kind of tapping into what her experience was, understanding it from my own perspective, and then also really learning about what it would be like and what it is like for young girls growing up in that kind of an environment.
Do you know what the word visualize means?
Sort of.
Well, think of something important that's happened to you. Special event, say. Okay? Can you see it?
Yeah, sure. It's like a picture in my mind.
The mind is used for many things. And one of the most important is to visualize and store information as images. That's how we learn. Okay. Now I'll take you back and we'll start at the beginning.
What beginning?
Before you were born. Before I was born. Before the Earth was formed. Before the solar system was created. Before the galaxies and the universe were born. That beginning. Do you know what it was called?
No.
The Big Bang.
How long ago was that?
15, 18 billion years.
Shit. That's a long time ago.
Yes. We will visualize what science says happened from that moment on up to the moment you came into this life. One of the most powerful pieces of information you can own is a sense of history. History of the universe as a whole, the galaxies within it, of the solar system within our Milky Way galaxy, of planet Earth in that solar system, of the nations on that planet, of the people in those nations, your people from Africa to America, to this glorious state, to this troubled city, to the very place where you were born. That beginning.
Wow. You don't need much breath to talk, huh?
Know whence you came, Nicole. For if you know whence you came, there's really no limit to where you can go.
You're surrounded by some really talented people as well. So
Yeah.
your father, Felicia Rashad, Khalil Kane,
Yeah.
and then Leon Ichazo, who has directed a lot of really some of my hidden gem movies are Leon's work. I mean, Zoom-Man, I guess I think Khalil was in that also. But some really good work. I mean, I know it had to have been a tight schedule, but I mean, any lessons that you learned from that movie? How do you carry it with you to this day? Do you flash back on it, or?
I think it was a really wonderful kind of introduction into this business for me. Like I had said, I had done independent movies, but, you know, I had done very low budget. You know, we're all crowded in a, you know, tiny little room, you know, eating a tray of donuts from Dunkin' Donuts and like working crazy hours. You know, I wasn't used to like these sort of legitimate productions that have like actual money that they're putting into it. So, you know, it was a luxury to be able to walk into this really interesting world of movie making where we did have the luxury of shooting, you know, 3 pages a day or 4 pages a day and taking our time to really get into the material. It was a really welcoming environment and a really creative environment with Leon. So I think it was a galvanizing experience in that I sort of was very just grateful to be there, and like I was like, yeah, this is I knew I wanted to do it, but now I was like, I felt like I could do it somehow. You know, I was actually having the experience with other people who were working a lot, and I don't know, they just really made me feel part of a team and part of something special. So that, I think that's what I took from it. It was confidence building, and it inspired me to keep going and do more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I look at the film. I mean, I think it's a gem because of what you say. I mean, I think there needs to be more nepotism, quite frankly, within the industry.
I agree. I agree now, many years on, 20 years on into my career. I agree. I think take the help where you can get it, and I will help my child in as many ways as I can, because I think it's a tough world. It's a tough business, and it's a tough world, and that's, you know, you want to help whoever you can along, whenever you can, you know, especially if you see that there's talent there, always. But anyway, what were you going to say?
No, I'll say, I mean, this is the only, from what I can tell, it's the only official credit that your father executive produced the film on too.
Yeah.
So, and then I guess he did 2 more features after that. So it really is a moment in time that's special. But also the legacy, when viewers see the film, you can't not connect Free of Eden to Sir with Love, and all the directly to Sir with Love, and it just seems like a continuum, and the message is there in terms of just a full circle thing, you know. So that resonates deeply for me.
Yeah, well, for my dad, education is number one. It always has been, and that was how I grew up. And he didn't have an education. You know, his education stopped when he was, I think, 11 and a half years old. So he's entirely self-taught, and the idea that he could give an education to his kids was the thing that made him the proudest. And so anything for him having to do with taking a child from a disadvantaged background, as he was, and being able to provide them with more knowledge that opens the world up to them, for him is the greatest story that could be told. And it was his story in a way. You know, there were so many people along the way who helped him, and who taught him and informed him, and he wouldn't be here today without those people. And so he loves to tell that kind of a story, because I think he wants it to inspire mentorship in other people, you know.
I love it. So last thing, I'll let you go. We'll have to continue this. I hope we can continue this. But so I mean, I know I missed the In the Heat of the Night 50th anniversary in LA. I had to get there, and it was sold out, and so I didn't.
It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. You were in the building, of course.
We were there, yes.
So how is Mr. Poitier doing today?
Oh, he's fantastic. He's doing great. He had his 90th birthday this past February, and he's doing great. You know. Yeah, he's still writing, and he's, you know, living his life. He doesn't really have any. Well, he's 90. He's not going to be making movies. He doesn't want to anyway, and he hasn't for a long time. His pursuits are more kind of intellectual at this point. He likes to write, and he likes to speak, which is what he was doing for the last 20 years.
I love it.
Yeah.
And do you have now? Free of Eden is one of my favorite Sidney Poitier performances. Do you have one that you hold close to you?
Of my dad?
Yeah.
Of my dad's performances? You know, I love so many of them. It's just ridiculous. I love them for different reasons, and I end up having different favorites depending on where I am in my life. Right now, only because I just rewatched it recently, maybe 6 months ago, I rewatched Brother John, and thought it was such an interesting and great movie. So that's kind of
if you didn't mention that, I was going to mention that.
Oh, interesting. That's so funny. Yeah, that's sort of like in the forefront of my mind right now. So that's my favorite for the moment.
Now look here, John, you're in trouble. You want me to ship you back to Ludlow, Texas? No. Well, then you better answer my questions. I have been for some time. All right. Now, you tell me why you've been traveling to all these places in this passport. To see the world. Who paid for it? I did. Where'd you get the money? I worked. And what about this Cuba, Albania, China? You know, American citizen isn't supposed to go there. Nobody stopped me. Say, what's this book? It's in Arabic, right? Yes. What is it? It's the Bible. That is, quotations from the Koran. Can you read that? Do you speak Russian? Yes. Chinese? Yes. What else? Swahili? French? Spanish? German? How'd you learn? I listened.
People have been telling me for 10 years, watch Brother John, and
It's a great movie.
I finally got. It's hard to get right now too. It's a little difficult to get.
It is, yeah, it is.
But definitely there were some things. There were some things in that movie that don't get uttered very often in mainstream American film. And
Yeah.
so I thank you for taking the time to share with our audience. Ray,
Absolutely.
they're back there somewhere. Well, you're back there. Did you see yourself on the little
Oh, oh yeah, look at that. Ha.
TV? Oh, you're really young there. Well, you look the same.
I
Though.
am so young. Oh, you're too kind. Thank you.
Anyway, so thank you, Sidney Poitier, for taking the time to share your
Thanks.
memories of Free of Eden. And I noticed somebody has put it on YouTube now. I don't know how long it's going to stay up, but
Oh wow, the whole movie?
the whole movie's up there right
Oh
now.
wow.
So
Wow.
more people and getting great comments.
Oh good.
So people, maybe it's another full circle moment here. So,
Awesome. Very cool.
all right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.